Move forward. Yes. Feel right as well. Yes,
Everyone's ready? James, ready to go?
Owen, 3 and a bit weeks till you head to France, the squad named. How are you feeling about your preparations, but also your prospects?
We're feeling good, I think. There's a lot of the team been in for a long time now. A few come in as the weeks have gone, but we feel like our preparation's been good so far, and we want to make sure that we use that time that you're talking about to kick on even more. But there's a good feeling about the group. There's a great opportunity in front of us, so we're looking forward to it.
Steve's gone early with this squad announcement. Does that help, do you think?
I think so. I think that with the lads that are now in and the weeks that we've got ahead of us to grab hold of it and to really take it forward is now clear. So we're looking forward to trying to do that to the best we can.
And not too many England fans have high prospects on your chances, and some critics as well. But what would you say to that? What can England fans expect?
What would I say to that? I think that we're working unbelievably hard here to get the most out of it, most out of ourselves. The opportunity that's in front of us. We've had a Six Nations that we were probably disappointed in. Well, we were definitely disappointed in, and this is the time now where we get to spend the most time together in preparation for a tournament. And what a special tournament it is to be a part of, and to be part of this team and part of this group now with a 33 selected is as I've said, there's a big opportunity in front of us, and we're gonna work hard to make the most of it.
And in your mind, is this squad, this team, good enough to win the World Cup?
Yeah, well, we've got to focus on what's in front of us. There's no doubt about that. We've got to focus on firstly this week, firstly training this afternoon, and making sure that we're getting everything out of ourselves that we possibly can do. And then when we get to the World Cup, when we get to France, we'll enjoy the opportunity, like we said.
Henry Slade, probably the biggest omission in terms of experience and names in this team. Have you spoken to him? How is he?
Not spoken to him yet. I've shared a room with Henry for the past 4 weeks. Yeah, so I'll definitely be getting in touch with him. But there's a lot of good players in this squad. There's a lot of competition. There's a lot of competitiveness day in, day out. So as I think we've got a great squad, and people need to be used as well over the course of this next 12 weeks. It's not going to stay the same. People need to stay ready. People need to make sure that they're ready if anything happens. And them boys that have just missed out have been a big part of this preparation.
Did you ever say in that decision at all?
No.
Were you surprised?
I think when it comes to any squad, as I've said, there's a lot of competition, especially in England, where there's a lot of good players. There was always going to be good players that missed out. That's always the case with squads here.
Ollie, if I'd spoken to you, or if I'd said to you after Worcester were suspended from the Premiership that you'd be sat here now, what would you have said? How are you feeling?
It's pretty special. Obviously, something I've always wanted to be a part of is this squad, and especially going to a World Cup. I think that the main thing for me really is that it's been a tough whole couple of months. Like, we've trained hard. Personally, for me, it's been difficult because I've been out injured. So I'm just looking forward to the next few weeks, just getting stuck back in with the squad, pushing forward over these next games. But the big focus is obviously this weekend against Wales. Do
you sense a big opportunity for you? What do you hope to bring in terms of a point of difference?
I think it's an opportunity for all of us. Personally, for me, I just want to put my best foot forward. Starts with training today, like Owen just said this afternoon. It's an opportunity for us to do something special, and we're all in it together. So it should be good.
Hi there. If I could just put one to Ben. There was a lot of talk about the back row options available for England, and Steve's talked a lot about flexibility. Tell us about your conversation with him you had on Sunday morning.
It was early. It was about 9 o'clock in the morning, so I just got up, had a bit of a sleepless night, so I wasn't really sure. The conversation I had with him was really encouraging in terms of what he wanted out of me. The thing Steve's done since he's come in is he's really encouraged us to be the player that we are, not try and fit into another mould or try and be something different. He wants to see our strengths. He wants to see how we can put our best foot forward, as Ollie's touched upon, and the training that we've been able to do over the last couple of weeks in terms of the boys coming back from the final and stuff. We've been able to do that, so it's been brilliant.
How important do you think it has been for you that you can move around that back row?
I don't think there's one player that can't in our back row. So like you say, flexibility in tournament rugby always helps. This will be one of the first tournaments I've been involved in terms of that intensity. So it must help. But like you said, I think everyone can do that. And we're all slightly different in our own way, which is I think is really nice. We've got a nice balance to that makeup, and looking forward to seeing how we grow as a unit and as a team. And
just on that sleepless night, who did you contact first when you found out?
My mum, yeah, she was buzzing, and she was so happy, over the moon, and I think she was straight onto whatever BA and onto the booking some flights. So yeah.
There's going to be a big Earl contingent out in France.
Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, I hope so. I think I'll be a good England contingent by all accounts, and I'm really excited to get out there and experience, like I said, my first kind of competition rugby.
And Jack, if I just throw one to you, Steve's been very clear that it was going to be 3 scrum halves. So was there much of a surprise when you had your chat on Sunday morning?
I think you always have that doubt that he might change his mind or things might change. So to have it confirmed on Sunday was obviously a really nice feeling. But it's been brilliant working with as a 3, and we're working hard to push each other each week and add to our games and challenge each other as much as we can. So it's been really good. Thank you.
And just lastly from me, who did you tell first that you were in?
I FaceTimed my family. They were in the car. So I FaceTimed my mum, who wasn't driving, they were all, mum, dad, and sister, all in the car. So it was very special. Mum cried a lot, which is a bit hard to deal with, but it was all right. No, it was really nice, really special.
Where were they going?
They were going back from Oxford. My sister had just moved her stuff into a new uni house, so they were driving back from Oxford Brookes. Yeah.
Very nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Morning, everybody. Afternoon. Congratulations to all of you. Ollie, you're the only one who's not told us about your knock on the door story. So how did you find out? Who did you call? How did you feel?
I had a chat with Steve on Sunday morning. Told me that I was in the squad, kind of just explained what he wanted for me going forward. Came out there, called my missus, called my family. That was pretty it. It was pretty surreal, special moment. But quickly kind of realised back into camp the next day, so kind of had to switch off a bit and then kind of focus on regathering for this week.
You seem to be handling it very coolly. You're heading to a World Cup with England. Yeah, no, I mean, it is special, don't get me wrong, but I think my main focus is getting on that plane to start with, and that starts with playing well this week and building into these games and getting that form that we need to go to a World Cup with, and then I'm sure as it develops and as we go through the tournament, hopefully it'll be pretty good. I accept you're not going to give away game plans, but just give us an indication of the kind of conversation you had with Steve when he talks about what he wants from you. The main thing for me is I think Steve just wants me to be myself. Like, he knows personally what my strengths are, and he wants me to be the best at them. Obviously, there's areas of my game that I can work on, and I'm constantly trying to work on the week in, week out. But the main thing, a bit like what Ben said earlier, is he wants us to show our strengths and really set a precedent with those within the training and then within our games. Owen, finally from me, I don't want to leave you out. I kind of assumed that you knew you were going to the World Cup, but still that sensation for you and the excitement and the hard work that's got you here. Who do you call first? What's your story?
Family, yeah, definitely. I think, and some of the. All these boys, it's the first time. Like, I can only sit here and tell them how special it is. Like, what a tournament we're about to go and play in. What an opportunity we've got to bring the best out of ourselves and to go and enjoy taking the best of ourselves to the rest of the world. Like, so it's a fantastic tournament. One that obviously comes around every 4 years, but you don't want to waste one. And this is as good as it gets, and so we're all looking forward to it.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Owen, one for you. The last 4 years for you, you've had your ups and downs in rugby. 2019 you also skippered. What has changed within Owen Farrell 2023 version, and what sort of learnings are you going to take from your previous experiences in World Cups as skipper and as leader into this squad?
It's not just the last World Cup. There's been a few that we've been involved in before, and they've kind of been both ends of the spectrum. So there's a lot of learning. I mean, I'm not trying to be anything that I'm not. I'm trying to be like these boys saying, like Steve's trying to make sure that we do is be the best version of ourselves. And obviously there's learning. Obviously there's time. Like people mature, people change, people learn all the time. It's not a matter of sitting down and thinking, right, what went on at the last World Cup and how am I going to be? Of course there's reflection, but hopefully a lot of that reflection would have gone into the last 4 years, not just popping up now and ready to go when the next one comes around. So I want to be myself. I want to enjoy it. I want to be, as these boys are saying, I want us to be the best version of us, and I'm looking forward to giving that a good crack. Yeah.
And one for you, Ben. Did a piece with Chris Robshaw in the week, and he was talking about how squad dynamics evolve kind of naturally. The listeners, the social guys, the jokers. How's that kind of been developing across the squad, and who are the people we've got to look out for?
Good question. I think the group actually in itself has actually been together for quite a long time. I mean, the core of the group, especially, I think Steve put a stat there was a good number of boys that were involved in the 2019 final that are still in the squad now. So a lot of boys know each other very well. In terms of jokers, it varies, but I mean, there's some very competitive sportsmen around the bar games. Elliot Daly and Danny Kerr back themselves a little darts duo. They're never far from the darts board. Ollie Chesham's a good pool player. There's a couple of us that are keen to get on the golf course when time and recovery allows. So, yeah, I mean, there's loads of different lads popping up at the right moments. And like you say, it's all about dynamic. And I can honestly say it's one of the tightest environments I've been in terms of I wasn't quite sure what to expect coming into, kind of like a pre-season camp where, there's the elephant in the room is selection at the end of the day. But honestly, it was one of the most healthy environments I'd been in. And I think that was testament to not only the coaches, but also the leadership group that Owen and Courtney and Genji have developed over the last couple of years, and it's been brilliant.
And one for you, Jack, very lastly. You go with two incredibly experienced scrum halves. I think they've got almost 200 caps between them. Just to extend my point about listeners and having those people around the squad, how useful is it for you to have DC and Benny in the side, and how much do you learn from them, pick their minds in terms of both the time you spend together, but also the on-field stuff as well?
Oh no, it's brilliant. Yeah, no, it's brilliant to have them two and Wiggy as a coach helping me out as well. Is I said it before, I couldn't really have three better people to learn off in the history of English rugby. So to pick their brains and their experiences, but also to compete with them in training and push each other on the training pitch is brilliant, and it's a really healthy sort of relationship we have between the three of us, and we're always looking to make each other better because that only helps the team and push the squad forward. So no, I'm really enjoying it, and they've been really good for me. Yeah.
Hi, one for Owen. Okay, hi. England won't be going to the World Cup as one of the favourites because of the turbulence of the last 4 years and the form that you guys have had. Are you actually going to quite enjoy that a lot of us and a lot of other people won't expect you to win it and might write you off? Is that quite a good position for an England team to be, to fly into it and try and prove people wrong?
I'm not sure. We'll use it either way. Whatever. If we was going in as favourites, we're going in and under the radar. We'd use it. We'd use it to our hopefully our advantage either way. And we are where we are at the minute. We're working hard quietly to be the best that we can be. And tournament rugby is a lot about pressure. I keep calling it tournament rugby. The World Cup it's bigger than everything else you're playing. there's more eyes, there's more noise, there's more outside noise especially, and the big thing, or the nice thing maybe at times for us is that we might not have as much as that. I don't know, it might be in a different way, who knows, but the big thing for us is to focus on what's in camp, focus on what we can control and not let the other stuff creep in. I'll use it well. So that's what we'll be doing. We'll be making sure that we don't get in our own way because of external factors that don't really matter, if I'm honest. So we'll look forward to try and get the best out of ourselves either way. Is your answer?
Yeah, okay. And I know, particularly with Steve as a head coach, he thinks very week to week. But with you guys as the leaders and you as the captain, has there been any conversation about winning the World Cup and the potential of doing that? Have you even thought about that or discussed it?
Well, the whole thing for the team has been to get the most out of ourselves now. We obviously know what a big tournament's coming up, and we're looking forward to it. And as I said, the opportunity is brilliant for us. But all our focus is on making sure we're becoming a better rugby team now, and we've been doing that over the past few weeks. And now that the squad's selected, we can really rip into that even more now.
Ben, we spoke to you a few times in the sort of, across the playoffs with Sarries and things like that, and I remember we spoke to you at one point when you'd had a recent visit from Steve and he was saying about what he wanted from players, and that was quite a long way out, wasn't it? I remember you saying it's kind of hard at that point to think beyond what you've got to do that weekend and things, but obviously there's a bit of nerves that come with it. Now you're on the other side of that selection coin, you feel like. How pleasing is it that, given all the work you did put in, and a lot of it in your spare time, that you're here and you've made the squad?
Yeah, I'm over the moon, as we all were, I think. This morning, especially coming into that change room, seeing all the boys, we're all bouncing. In terms of individually, look, the back row was so competitive. I mean, the boys that missed out, what great players and what great blokes. So you do have to pinch yourself and say you're going to a World Cup. It did seem at times over the last 18 months it's been a long way off. So over the moon. But as Ollie touched upon there, like Steve's now challenged us all to push for a starting place, push to be involved in that first game against Argentina, and the only way we do that is train and play well over the next 2-3 weeks. So pinch yourself, but looking forward to kind of getting stuck in with a bit more of a freedom of mind that you're going to have the opportunities in training and matches to try and be involved in that first game.
The selection can give everyone a lift, can't it? Because Steve has been clear about selecting players to do what they do and be themselves. If it stands to reason, if you are then selected, that's extra vindication. Yeah,
exactly, and that's why the environment's been so good, is because everyone has just been able to be themselves. No one's looking over their shoulder being, should I do X, should I do Y, even if that's not in their strengths or something they don't feel that comfortable doing. So that's what I think why the environment's been so good, is because everyone's just playing to who they are, and everyone's finding out combinations that complement each other, and that's what I've found most enjoyable over the last couple of weeks especially.
And Owen, you've been involved in all sorts of different teams across your career for England and Saracens and the Lions as well, I suppose. So you've been used to sides that have built game plans and styles of play over numbers of years, and also had to bring them together quite quickly. If you got the time to bring everything together to the level you'd want to be at for this World Cup, it's obviously Steve would have loved to have had a 4-year build-up. We know he hasn't had the luxury, and with a new coaching team in place, have you got the time to bring everything together in time?
Well, this is the most amount of time we ever spent together. We normally get a week prep before we kick off into a Six Nations, a week to prep before we kick off into an autumn series. Similar with going on a summer tour. It's normally pretty broken. This is not the case. So this is where we get most of our work done. And obviously, people. I'm not just on about the last however many years, but even just in World Cups, in sport in general, like we go to World Cups and everyone thinks there's a brilliant build up, and then the best team, the favourites, and then like that's and it's theirs to go and win. And look, it doesn't work like that. You only have to look at the Football World Cup with Argentina. Who did they lose to? Argentina, Saudi Arabia. at the start of the tournament. You look at past Rugby World Cups, like where New Zealand have been so dominant, and South Africa won in 2007. That's not sport. That's not sport, and it's about dealing with what we have now, and that's what we're looking to do.
Just one for Ben. Ben, when you went out of the squad in the Six Nations, what did you learn from that, and what did you want to sort of work on?
What I learnt was obviously gutted not to be playing, but there was still a real good opportunity to impress and help the team, and that was probably something that maybe Ben Earl 4 years ago wouldn't have had that perspective. I was with the team the whole of the campaign, coming in on Thursdays to train with the team, 2 days before a test match, and actually learned quite a lot about myself, learned a lot about what a good teammate looks like, and what I wanted to be, because I think everyone can be on top form, be a great teammate when they're playing in the 23. It's actually sometimes when you're not playing, that's a real testament, and I think that's where this squad will be brilliant, is that you've got a lot of characters that are like that. The team's most important thing, and obviously everyone wants to play, but yeah, that's something I learned, and just because you're not playing doesn't mean that you're not necessarily a good player. Maybe you're the kind of player you are doesn't fit that weekend, and I think that's definitely something that Steve's a big thinker about the game, big thinker about combinations and the setup of the team, and something that I've learned doesn't necessarily mean because you're not playing doesn't mean you're not in the top 4 players. In my position, that would be top 4 or 5 players. Maybe the kind of player you are doesn't fit that week. So and the plan. So yeah, that's something I learned, and hopefully I'll use to a certain extent over the coming months.
And when you turned up for the first training camp this time, what was it that you really wanted to prove? Was it, along with being a good teammate, what did you want to show the coaches?
Myself. I think over the last probably 2 years, I had a bit of an up and down journey with England in terms of being in and out of squads and whatever, and then obviously having some highs with the club and having some lows with the club over the last 2 years as well. So probably a bit more of a rounded individual as much as a player. So showing both aspects on and off the pitch, I think, is as important.
And just finally, one for Ollie. You talked about that spell of injury rehab. How much pressure did that sort of add to the situation for you in terms of wanting to make the cut for the squad?
Yeah, probably initially, I think it probably runs through your head. You think, oh, this could be the end. But within a brief few moments, and then probably the next day, as soon as you kind of realise what you're facing, you just got to deal with it. Yeah, it happened. I got injured. I just had to work as hard as I could off the field to try and get close to where these boys were on the field, and try and make sure that when I came back, the gap wasn't too far away. And yeah, an element of it is just doing your best, and like I said, whatever happens. Whatever call Steve wanted to make was going to be his decision, and all I could do was put myself in the best position to be back out on the field.
I have one for Jack. Obviously, you're one of the younger players in the squad, and incredible to get in that position. There can be a lot of young players looking up to you. Now, you've obviously taken on advice, etc., from like Danny Kerr, Ben Youngs. What advice would you give to the young people that are coming through and want to be in your position in 5, 10, 15 years' time?
I think for me, sort of learning coming through sort of academy systems, and the same for the others here, what I'd say to a young person coming through is be patient in a lot of ways, but almost not too patient. With push as hard as you can, but understand that it will come. I think if anyone was in my shoes, they'd be really small until 16, 17, and suddenly you grow a bit, and it sort of grow into yourself, and then it all comes quite quickly. So just work as hard as you can on those core parts of your game, your fundamentals, and push as much as you can, but understand you're going to have to be patient at times, and trust sort of the process and how it all works. But keep working as hard as you can on those core skills.
Thank you. And Ollie, you obviously made your move from Worcester to Bath. And as soon as you started playing for Bath, you started performing incredibly well, and you of course got the Premiership Player of the Month. What was the motivation, which has obviously now led you to being back in the England squad? What really motivated you to sort of push forward?
Probably the realisation that kind of rugby can be taken away from you at any point, whether that be injury or any factor. I think the fact that I was at a place for so long and grew up playing that, and then had to completely move to a different team with a load of different players who'd been together for a long time was a real challenge. And my real motivation, I think, really was the fact that I was fortunate enough to pick up a gig pretty sharpish, and I wanted to bring the best out of myself and just get going again. It was difficult, but like I said, we all go through ups and downs in life. And like I said, my job is to play rugby and to do it to the best of my ability. And hopefully, I did that for Bath this season. And like I said, moving forward now with England over these next few weeks, hopefully I can do the same.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Owen, hi. NHK Japan.
I can't see then. Sorry.
You played many times with Japan team in the past, and you're going to be playing on the 17th of September against Japan. And what are you looking forward to playing? And how do you think Japan has evolved since last 4 years?
I guess it evolved like every team. We've played them a couple of years ago now in the autumn, and we know what a threat they are. We know how much they can move the ball. We know how much they come up with good different plans to surprise you at times. So they've been obviously the buzz around the World Cup and the feeling around the World Cup grew massively in Japan, and everyone thought it was a fantastic tournament. And I'm sure, I don't know this, but I'm sure rugby in Japan was booming since then. And you know, to play against a great nation again and to be in our pool group will be brilliant. Yeah.
Any key players that you're going to be watching out for?
We'll be watching all of them. I wouldn't like to pick too many out, but we're kind of focused on what's in front of us at the minute. So we'll look at Wales. We'll look at Wales first, and obviously when it comes to Japan, we'll really focus in on them.
Ollie, hi, over here. Sorry, just an admin one. Are you 100% fit?
Yeah, I'm training with the squad now, and I'm back up for selection as far as I'm aware. So yeah, I'm all good.
Okay, so you could play on Saturday if selected.
Yeah, I guess we'll wait and see what the team sheet says.
Cool. All right, thank you.
Hi, it's a question for Owen. This is your third time being selected to play for the World Cup. But what does playing for England means to you?
Well, for us, it's the highest level of rugby we can play. But to play for our nation, that I'm very proud of being English, and to get to represent England's a massive honour. I think, especially around the World Cup, I think if I've thought about the last two that we've been involved in, and as a fan or as a sports fan in general, the atmosphere around England and the atmosphere around the support for the country in big tournaments is phenomenal. And for us to get the chance and the opportunity to be at the forefront of that is brilliant. And as I said, I'm a proud Englishman, and we want to represent them fans that we're talking about to the best we can.
Owen, hi. You've won in your career Premiership titles, European Cups, winning Lions tours. Can you describe how desperate you are to add a World Cup to that? And can you reassure England supporters that is the only goal you've got in mind going to this tournament?
Reassure them that's the only goal. That's the only
winning it.
Yeah. Well, obviously our focus is purely on what's going on now, and that's to prepare for a World Cup. So we're doing that as best we can, and obviously the dream is always to be in the big game at the end, and to obviously go as far as you can. So all our focus is obviously on that. Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that any other way.
Perfect. Good place to end it. Thanks very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.